Finally, after 10 years, Stranger Things is almost over. I love Stranger Things. It has its highs and its lows for me. Since the first season, I've been locked in on this series. I only say finally because the wait between 3 and 4 and 4 and 5 was ridiculous. To be fair, there were some roadblocks from, a whole pandemic and the entire industry shutting down due to the writer and actor strikes. Either way, I have been dying for this show to end, just to see how the last season unfolds and if the Duffer Brothers can successfully land a satisfying ending to one of the biggest shows of all time. Now we're finally here with Season 5, Volume 1 already out and streaming, and Volume 2 coming out later this week. How good was the highly anticipated return to Hawkins, and just what could be coming in this next volume? If you aren't caught up and care about spoilers, I'm pretty much exclusively talking spoilers this time, so you know the drill. Okay, spoiler time. I've never actually talked about Stranger Things since I've made this channel, so let me do a speedrun review of every single season at once in one go. Set the speedrun clock. Okay, go. Season 1 is near perfect, balancing a pretty dark story and a sci-fi mystery with some of the best writing and acting from the series, especially from Winona Ryder. This is the best season, real lightning in a bottle kind of stuff here. Honestly, I wouldn't have minded if the Duffer Brothers stuck to their plan of having Stranger Things be an anthology and follow a different set of kids in Season 2. Season 2 I also really enjoyed. I feel it's a great follow-up to what happened in 1 and the consequences of it, mainly on Will. I like the beginning of Hopper and Eleven's relationship here. I love Bob. Max is a great addition as well. I love anything set during Halloween. The snowball ending is iconic, and the Mind Flayer is the best monster design of the show. I feel this one just retreads a lot of the same ground as Season 1, so I have to rank it lower. Season 3 is probably my least favorite, although I still really like parts of it. The mall setting is one of the best of the entire series. The show really feels like it stepped up a lot in scale. I like the adult plot with Alexi and the fair, although that death is really sad. This season made me really turn around on Billy and expand upon Max in a great way. Robin is a good addition for now. Steve, Erica, and Nancy all get their own great moments, but this season just jumped the shark for me with the Russian bunker under the mall, just feeling like a Saturday morning cartoon and leaned way more into silly than serious than I like for this series. Season 4 completely turned me around from 3 though. If it wasn't for the insane pace with super long episodes, it would probably be my favorite. My favorite genre in anything is horror, so I was glued to this one. Vecna/Henry/1 is the best addition to the show in any season, finally giving it a main antagonist. The backstory on 11, 1, and the other kids is great. Eddie is one of the best in the series. The murders through Hawkins and the mystery behind it is engaging. The Creel House is iconic, but the pacing is thrown off by plot lines I do not care for. Susie's house and her siblings is stupid. California only had one cool oneer where the two agents have a shootout with the military in the Byers house. Argyle is stupid. And as much as I love Hopper and Joyce, every time it would cut back to Russia, it felt like the show was going 100 miles an hour and then slammed on the brakes. Whew. And so far, I'm really enjoying Season 5 of Stranger Things. Overall, the things that I enjoy about each season is still there, and the things that usually weigh it down for me still exist as well. I think the season starts off really well, with some downtime to show us where all of the characters are after a time jump, as well as maintain a pretty exciting pace, just dumping us right into a crawl as we're learning what a crawl is. I think using the squawk radio to send out secret signals through songs, that is so cool. Just starting off right there, my intrigue was at a peak. I will say, I'm not a huge fan of the time jump. The cliffhanger ending of Season 4 is exciting to me because of the way Hawkins was ripped open and what that implies for the next season. Instead, they just somehow patch it up between seasons and quarantine the town, which is a new and unique setting to be fair. Just slightly disappointing that we're moving past that concept right away. On the other hand though, I love the fact that all of our characters are already on the same page. To me, my favorite parts and the best parts of any of the seasons is when the kids' plotline merges with the adults' plotline. So starting them all off together on the same plan is so exciting and tells me that the Duffer Brothers do not want to waste any time here. The Demogorgon attack at the Wheeler house was awesome and surprisingly brutal, but honestly, I think Karen and Ted should have died. I don't want them to die, but the way both of them are attacked so violently and so early in the season That is a perfect moment to tell your audience that nobody is safe and set high stakes for the rest of your final season. The fact that they're probably going to pull through from something like that is crazy and makes me feel like any of the other characters are going to make it through because they can survive something like that. The trap at the Turnbow House was so much fun. The show is always at its best when we get to see the kids set up and execute on a plan like that. Hopper and Eleven together in the Upside Down is an interesting angle to take. It is nice seeing them together after so much time apart from the last season. When the soldiers discover them at the wall, I will say, I found it really goofy that they're given orders to capture Eleven and bring her in alive to Sarah Connor. They realize Eleven is behind this billboard thing by using the anti-psychic turret on her, find out she's there, and then just light up the cover? And then Hopper hitting an absolute green with the 2 grenades? Crazy. I love the older kids and Dustin chasing the Demogorgon through the gate. I'm really excited to see what they discover about the Upside Down once they get to Hawkins Electric. Although, I'm not a huge fan of how Steve is treating Dustin in that scene and how Steve is acting towards everyone in this volume in general, but I'm sure they're going to expand on that in Volume 2. I'm sure Dustin and Steve are going to make up, especially with that "if you die, I die" line in the newest trailer. I think the Duffer Brothers had so much fun writing lines for Robin when she was drugged in Season 3 that they forgot how she was before it and just kept writing her that way. I am not a huge fan of her this season. But I do like her and Will paired up. That's pretty fun. That's cool to explore. And for a character that I usually don't have an opinion either way on, I really like what they're doing with Will this season. And I think if they end his arc this season in a satisfying way, Season 1 and Season 5 are going to be great bookends to the series as a whole, both focusing on him and his connection to the Upside Down. But anyways, we gotta get into the crazy stuff. Now that we got some of the smaller spoiler stuff out of the way, I gotta dive into the big crazy things that happened. Will has powers now. Even though I had that spoiled for me by a GIF on Twitter with a text above it that I'm not gonna say, you know the one, I don't need that audio clip of me saying that going around. I still found the reveal to be done super well, even though I knew it was coming. With everyone he cares about in danger, about to be attacked by the Demogorgons, he thinks back to what Robin said to him, having all the answers all along. And I'm about to say something dangerous, as a Stranger Things fan, but I'm on YouTube and not Twitter, so I think I'm safe. That moment is clearly him letting go of what he feels for Mike. The conversation from Robin that is replayed during that sequence is directly about what Will is feeling. After signals weren't reciprocated from Mike, the shove that Will gives him in front of Squawk, which then cuts and focuses on Robin's reaction to, media literacy, guys, media literacy award. Will realizes exactly what Robin is saying, that the love for someone else isn't what he should have been chasing, but instead the love for himself is what he needs. And then his powers awaken. That moment is done so well, and the slow pan down to Will standing in the distance, hitting the 11 stance, was so cool. I'm so excited to see what they do with this in the rest of the season. I'm sure the connection to Vecna will have dangers to it, and the trailer for Volume 2 seems to imply we're gonna reanimate a Demogorgon so Will can either control it or open a gate with it. I think that is such a cool concept you can do so much with, and I'm so excited to see what happens. Vecna, we didn't really get much of aside from his Mr. What's-It form. He kind of just shows up, flexes his new fit and his snatched waist, and then rage baits Will by calling him weak and gay. Why did I write that? I feel like he wanted Will to awaken his powers through their connection, but I, don't really know why just yet. I actually don't really have a theory to that. I'm sure it's going to be to try to control him or something like he did in Season 2, or the Mind Flayer did or whatever, but we'll see. We did get a little tease of the finale on The Tonight Show with the Duffer Brothers using Funko Pops to portray what will happen. And they put Will in between Vecna and Henry, so maybe Will is going to be able to separate Henry from the Mind Flayer. Will is the bridge between the two. We do have an episode titled The Bridge coming up. But with the Henry stuff, I'm not really a fan of where the show seems to be going with him. It seems like they're building it up to redeem him in some way, making the audience feel bad for this kid who wandered into a cave and was taken by the Mind Flayer, just like how Will was, but unlike Will, he didn't have anyone to break him from the Mind Flayer and set him free. I just enjoy Vecna being a villain on his own accord. Usually, evil for the sake of being evil is such a lame thing to me, but I think I'm okay with it here with Vecna. Even if he has been under the control of the Mind Flayer, he still did all these terrible things. He murdered tons of people and keeps kidnapping countless kids. I do think, though, Vecna is taking these kids to use them as batteries for a wormhole. Every time we get a scene in a season with Mr. Clark teaching some sort of theoretical concept, it always ends up being exactly what happens. Plus, the wormhole drawing he makes is very similar to the painting of what Will saw through Vecna, so I think it's pretty clear that's where we're going. I do wonder, though, why Vecna needs these kids alive and seemingly comfortable. Like I said, I'm assuming they're batteries of some sort. I just don't really get the end game. I don't think the wormhole is just going to be another gate. I have seen a lot of people think the show is building up to time travel somehow. I guess that could be what the wormhole is leading to, but why would Vecna or the Mind Flayer want to time travel? And then there's Max, being alive in Vecna's mind. Pretty cool twist, one that actually really surprised me. When I saw the tattered jeans and boots come up to Holly from her point of view before Max bent down, and the silhouette through the Creel House door, I actually thought it was going to be Eddie somehow, but I am so glad it's Max instead. It was a little frustrating seeing Max find the exit, seeing herself and Lucas in the hospital, and then just stand there instead of running to it immediately. I'm sure we're going to get her back soon. I just found that moment a bit lazy, a very cliche horror trope, standing, staring at the exit, waiting, and then the slasher comes out and gets her. And then, the last big twist of the volume, Eleven's kryptonite that the military has been using on her has actually been coming from Callie, number 8, instead of Vecna. Okay, I don't know about anyone else, but I just don't really care for this as a reveal. Cool, you guys connected it to a character that everyone assumed was a one-off that was never coming back. I like that they're tying up loose ends, but I also feel like they're including her at such a pivotal moment just to be like, see, it wasn't pointless, it was actually a good episode, we had a plan the whole time. Maybe the rest of season 5 will change my mind, I just don't really care for her inclusion since all we've ever gotten was a backdoor pilot of her and her crew. The first volume of Stranger Things 5 sets up Volume 2 to be even crazier and more exciting, giving us more of what's going on at Mr. What's-Its house, Max escaping Henry's mind, and finding out what the Upside Down really is and what's going on with the walls. I'm really liking it so far, and I think it's only going to get better from here. It really all just comes down to the ending for me. I swear to God, if the ending of this show is a twist showing that the entire series has been one big D&D game all along, I will crash out and go back on every good thing I've said about this show. Time travel would be lame in my opinion, but if it turns out to just be a D&D game, that is infinitely worse. I'm definitely going to have to do another video or two on Stranger Things for Volume 2 and the finale, so that's kind of why I grazed over some plot points and characters in this one. And this show is also insanely long to try to squeeze into a 12 to 14-ish minute video. If there's anything you think I missed mentioning, let me know, and let me know your thoughts on the season as well. I'll be sure to read any of the comments that are left and try to include anything that I did miss into the next video or the video after that. If you watched all the way to this point, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. My Welcome to Derry video did so much better than I ever could have imagined. Thank you to everyone who's new to the channel and all of the countless kind comments about being surprised at the quality of my video with the low subscriber count. It's just really cool to see. I love reading everyone's comments and having discussions on shows and movies. It was so much fun talking to everybody in the Derry comments, and I will continue to do so with any new comments I get. Hopefully that is a sign of big things to come. I really want to stay consistent with uploads and lock in on this channel later next year, maybe a little after January after I move. But yeah, thank you guys again so much. Be sure to subscribe and like and comment and all that. Yeah, I kind of just like talk myself into a corner. I don't really have anything else to say. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.